Good morning. It's April the 19th. This is a meeting of the Grange Board of Adjustments. It is about 8:30 a.m. and we will now begin the meeting. On today's docket, we have one case. And before we get started, I'd like for Christy to swear in anybody that's going to be speaking.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the one case today, Ryan, are you presenting? All righty.
Yeah, do you want to read it in?
Docket LG-24-003. An application has been filed requesting a side and rear yard setback variance for a proposed apartment building located at 120 Anchor Avenue, LaGrange.
All right, Ryan Fisher, Director, Oldham County Planning and Development. Okay, I'll have to get used to that. So before you today, Christy read the docket item. It is a little bit different. So it's a front, street, side, and rear yard setback. And we'll go through all these and make sure we're all clear on all of these terms and what they mean. So this application has been filed for these variances. For a proposed apartment building located at 120 Anchor Avenue in LaGrange. Here is just a schematic of what the proposed building will look like. It does sit in an R4 residential district.
I don't have anything going.
Oh,
There we go.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'll go back. There you go. So it is an R4 residential district, sits on 0.8985 acres of property. No previous site history to note. As always with our property owner notifications, we did post this to our county website on the 31st of July. We sent out adjoining property owner notices on the 7th, and I have two public notices there in the Oldham area because the one that appeared on the 8th had the incorrect date. So I submitted again to them, and they posted again on the 15th, and I just wanted to make everybody aware that that's why there were two postings, because that first one did have the incorrect date. So here is the property in question, Dawkins Road and Anchor Avenue. There's already an existing apartment building on this property. This other building will simply mirror this one with the same type of look, and then there'll be a parking lot that will be placed in the middle. So this is the lot that we're talking about, showing it is an R4 residentially zoned piece of property. So the applicant, in order to do this, is requesting a street side yard, a front yard, and a rear yard setback for that proposed apartment building. As we saw, that property does sit at the corner of Dawkins and Anchor Avenue and is currently zoned R4 residential. The applicant, which I'm sure they'll tell you a little bit more about their mission, does provide long and short-term housing for single moms and families, and currently has a 6-unit existing apartment building on the site. So within that R4 zoning area, you can see that you've got a front yard setback of 25 feet, a street side yard setback of 25 feet, and a rear yard setback of 25 feet. So those three highlighted areas here are the three that we're going to want to look at. And as you can see, I think both of these were included in your staff packet. The diagram here on the right shows what's essentially a corner lot. Okay, and so corner lots are always, we think of as being great things until you go to do anything on them, and then you realize you've got pretty much two front yard setbacks. So if this is the proposed apartment building right here, they've got a 25-foot front setback they have to maintain. They have a 25-foot street side, which is going to be the Dawkins Road side, and then a 25-foot rear setback variance as well. So all three setbacks they have on their apartment building, with the exception of the parking lot side, would need to be 25 feet in this case. And so that's why they're asking for relief from that regulation. So the applicant is proposing that new 6-unit apartment building, which is going to mirror that existing building on the lot, which we'll see some pictures of here in a little bit. And then that parking lot will be added between those two buildings. And in building that new apartment building, the applicant is requesting that side yard setback, front yard setback, and rear yard setback variance. So here is a photo, and then once again, this was in your staff packet as well. Anchor Avenue, Dawkins Road down here. So this is the proposed apartment building. And I know it's hard to see up here, and we'll go over these distances, but this setback, and this setback back here are the ones that they're asking for relief from. Here are some pictures. This is the existing building coming in off Anchor Avenue. Another picture of the existing apartment building looking at the intersection here of Dawkins Road coming in off Anchor Avenue. A picture from the intersection from across the street at the existing building. Another photo of that. Another photo looking with the existing building there on your right, looking down Anchor Avenue. And then towards that right side property line of the existing apartment building. So 3 different variances request here, and so we'll look at all of these individually, and we typically do these in 3 separate motions just in case we don't necessarily approve one particular variance. So the first one that we're going to be looking at is the street side yard setback variance. So that'll be what would be the proposed rear of the new apartment building, which will be facing Dawkins Road. So that required street side yard is 25 feet, as we looked at. They're requesting that setback variance to be 9.82 feet from that property line. Thus, the variance being requested is 15.18 feet. So that is the first variance request. The next one will be for the front yard setback variance, which will be facing Anchor Avenue. So that, once again, required front yard is 25 feet. They're requesting that front yard to be 23.82 feet, so they're simply asking for 1.18 feet on the variance. And then the last one will be the rear yard setback variance, once again 25 feet. That requested rear yard is 16.71 feet according to their plans. And so that variance being requested is 8.29 feet. All 3 variances will include the same potential conditions of approval, unless we hear any others that need to be added, but the variance shall only apply to the plan reviewed at this August 19th LaGrange Board of Adjustments public hearing. So that will be for all 3 of those variance requests. With that, I believe that concludes my presentation, as long as we're all clear on the front, the street side, and the rear yards, and all the distances. And I received no comments or anything from anybody regarding this case by email, phone, anything like that.
So to understand, the rear yard is the one that faces or is the one that runs from, is next to the single-family dwelling.
Yeah, so the rear yard would be what's back here.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody good on that? Next, we have the applicant that'll come up and make their presentation.
Good morning. I'm Chelsea Bramall. I represent the applicant, Good News Shelter Corporation. This is a nonprofit entity. They've been in business about 25 years. They provide housing, transitional and permanent housing for battered women and families. They have operated this site for some time with the 6 units, but now they're in a phase of expanding. They typically have a waiting list, and so this would provide the opportunity to essentially double what they're doing at this location, but expand the services of women families in this community. Each of these units is a two-bedroom, so it will serve the families. We have the problem here is essentially the parking lot. To meet regulations, the building has to be, the parking lot has to be 60 feet wide, which pushes that second unit out toward outside the bounds of the buildable area without variances. This has some unique circumstances. One, that Dawkins Road does not run at a 90-degree angle here. So usually when we're doing setbacks, it's because of the sight lines that you're going to run in, that you're going to encroach into. In this situation, Dawkins actually runs at an angle there, so making the left hand from Anchor to Dawkins, even with the encroachment into the buildable or into the right-of-way, even with the variance, still provides a good amount of sight turning, making that left hand from Anchor onto Dawkins. Also, the location of the road, it drops off here between the back end of the building to the road. So when you're looking down Dawkins, the road level isn't encroached upon by the building, which sets up much higher. Still, the more treacherous turn is this right onto Dawkins, which kind of goes at an angle behind you. I have the applicant himself. I have a couple members of the board. If you have any other questions for us.
Mr. Hurley, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Pierce, any questions?
All right.
I've got one. Okay, so if I'm correct on what Ryan presented, on that corner you just talked about there, where, the corner of the building, yes, ma'am, right there. That's should be, if the variance is granted, then that would be 9.82 feet from
Yes.
the corner of the building to the building line.
Yes. 9.82 feet.
Okay. And so none of this, I live in that area. It's one of the reasons I ask, and I go up that way. This would not infringe on any type of a line of sight? Or does any of that need to be approved for, because that's a state road right there, isn't it? Dawkins Road, I believe is. Yeah. So.
I don't know if I have an answer for that. I think that's partially up to you with what is built in that that area, or yes, that setback. I think that's what we're here to get granted.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you have anybody here that is here in support of your project?
I might be able to answer that question.
Okay. Yes.
If Mr. Grace could come forward then.
Introduce yourself first.
I'm Tom Grace. I'm chairman of the board of Good News Homes. And I think one of the photos, and I don't know how to rotate back, Ryan, if you'd help me. There we go. There, go, that one right there. This would be the view. And so if you're worried about a line of sight view, the building itself is going to be up higher, about where that second sign from the right would be where the corner of the building would be. So I think you would be out past that, and the building is already higher elevation than the road anyway. So I don't think that would be a line of sight issue, my opinion, but I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And you said from the top of which sign there, Tom?
You see the kind of red looking building, and there's a sign right in the corner, and then the one a little further. There you go. I'm sorry. I get you.
That one there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
I talk with my hands more than a pointer, but yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Could you give me your address as well, sir?
4420 West Highway 524, Westport 40077.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions for Mr.
I
Gray?
had some concerns about the same, about the site issue, and I drove down there with my car and went to Anchor, and, you know, I could look both ways, and it had no effect. As long as you weren't going to drop that new building down, it's not an issue at all.
I don't think it's going to be any different than what's there now
Yeah, it's-
with the fall of the land, except obviously there'll be a building there, so
Right.
don't want to gloss over that. But the fall of the land, I think you already passed that.
Yeah.
Okay. No other questions for the applicant? Did you have a question, sir, a few minutes ago? If you could come forward, if you haven't, state your name and address.
I'm David Scott. I live at 117 Anchor, which would be right across the street, kind of, from it. Not so much a question. I think there's more personally involved than just eye clearance and whether or not you can see. Setback is for a reason. It directly affects the value perceived. You take, we have, I'm not sure of the name, but we have ones that go around in a car that checks for if the property's kept up, if things are wrong, to keep the value of the place at an appropriate level. So I live across the street. I moved there not quite 2 years ago. It had been burnt down before. I've done a lot to make the house more valuable, but at the same time, when you reduce your setback, I think it directly affects the value of homes. You put it in a different category. Now, okay, so this affects, I think, everybody in the neighborhood. So I also have personal problems, health problems in the family. It's one of the reasons I moved here 2 years ago. So it becomes an issue where I probably can't live there, and I have to sell my house at a devalued cost because of now the value of the homes in the area will be different. Because the setback, you go into a more affluent neighborhood, okay, Anchor Avenue is not the greatest place, you know, it's not $400,000-$500,000 homes, but still there's value. So this affects, then if I have to sell it because of things, and it has to do with hearing problems in the family, okay, and the construction. So that's a personal thing. If I'd have moved in afterward, I probably wouldn't even be bringing this up. I would have came in at a reduced value, but now then I have to sell because of personal problems and at a reduced price. So it does affect a very small setback, puts the perspective as you drive down the street, I think, of a much reduced valued home. So is it a question? No. I want, you know, okay, the objective of this, I think, is great, to help people out and things. Living across from it, most of the time I've seen that it wasn't full. There was only a few places in there. There's many empty lots or much area down Dawkins where there's not homes and there's roads at dead ends. I moved from Ohio, but the thing being, to me, I think I'm not, sooner or later, the house has to be sold. So, you know, yeah, that's a general thing we kind of all think about. But personally, I guess it becomes an urgent issue because of health problems, because if I do have to sell, because the construction, health-wise, it's, I can't go part of my family cannot go to stores and things because of sound. Can't go anywhere. So, yeah, it's not just a little thing. It's a big thing to me.
All righty.
That's it.
Appreciate you coming forward, sir. So, do we have anybody else, the applicant, that wishes to speak in favor of or against the property?
Once again, Tom Grace. Just, you all may not be familiar, and we try to be sensitive to the neighbors too. When we put folks in our units, we have these 6. We have 4 over on 53, just going out of town. We have 4 on 42 up at Bedford. Then we have a duplex over on 5th Street, and we have 2 ladies that run our office. It's right there at the end of the building, Hometown Pizza. Mike and Mary Beth gave us property many years ago, and so that's where our offices are. We drug test everybody. They can't stay in there longer than a year. We help them. We make them go through personal finance classes. We put mentors with them to where there's somebody dealing with, and it might be a single mom, it might be a young married couple. We've had 70-year-old fellow that was sleeping in his car that we put in one of our units for a few months until we helped him get his Social Security check coming. So we're very hands-on. We take good care of it. We've got a maintenance team that takes care of anything that needs fixing so things don't get run down. Building this building like this, the parking lot's going to be contained between the 2 buildings, so you're not going to be seeing a lot of activity anywhere except for the 2 buildings the building that's there and the one we're wanting to add. To answer Mr. Scott's question, yeah, there's other properties, but we already own this one, and so we thought this would be good since we do everything off of donations, 100% donations. We own this property, and if we can build on it, then we can help more families, and it's not as big a cost to us. So that's what drove us to look at this piece of property like this, is since we already own it.
All right, correct.
My name is Bob Woodman Jr. I'm also on the board of Good News Homes. My address is
Give me your
4606.
address, please, sir.
4606 Sunny Hill Drive, Crestwood.
Thank you.
I'm also on the board of Good News Homes, and I'm representing as a contractor to help them with the plans and this variance request, the application that we put together. One thing I want to elaborate, our intent to build this other building is also going to do a paved parking lot. So we'll get rid of the gravel parking lot. It'll be a paved parking lot. We're going to have additional landscaping. We're going to improve the property. Yes, there'll be a building. It'll be a little closer to the road, but it will provide improvements to the property, which we feel will help the neighbors from a financial standpoint of being increased property values. There is also another apartment building right behind the one that's shown on this picture right here. That's just on Anchor Avenue, right behind our site. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention as well. So like I say, we're going to do landscaping in that to make it nicer looking. So
I don't think, and I'm sorry I can't ask our attorney because he's not with us today, but I believe I can ask Ryan, and we don't get into the landscape approvals and all of that type of thing, but for my curiosity, are y'all planning some sort of a landscape barrier on, I'll say, the rear? It's not actually the rear on this, but the side facing Dawkins Road. Will there be some sort of landscaping along there?
I think the intent to maintain sightlines when you pull down Anchor and to turn left or right onto Dawkins, we want to make sure we can maintain those sightlines. So if we did any landscaping on the back, it would be smaller bushes right up against the building itself, like between the air conditioning units, and that's what would be back there.
Because there's no rear entry out of these buildings, is there?
No, there's not.
Okay.
No.
I don't have any further questions, unless Mr. Early or anybody.
The construction of this is slab on grade? That's correct.
Yes,
You know,
yes, that is correct.
So a slab on grade.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize. No, I'm thinking of another project. I got so many things going on. This will be, the front will be at grade, but it'll be a crawl space.
Okay.
So I don't know if you were given the whole packet. There is a site elevation drawing, I don't think it was part of the packet, that shows on the back side, on Dawkins' side, there's a 30-inch crawl space access to allow us to get under there so we can do wiring and duct work and things like that. But on the front side, it would be ADA access. The existing buildings were built out of the ground, and so they have stairs going to each apartment unit, whereas we want to put these down at grade. But there'll still be sort of a walkout because of the way the land falls, give us, crawl space access.
Okay. And I noticed the ADA, typically you have to have two methods of egress, for a unit for ADA. Are we making sure we're putting in egress size windows in the bedrooms?
That is
in the
correct.
back there? So,
Yes, sir.
So we have another way out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Alrighty. I don't believe there's any further comments on this, or support, or opposition at this time. So I guess now it goes to a point of needing, make sure that the board all understands everything about these setbacks, exactly what they are, and to move forward with a motion or motions. I believe we need three for the three separate sides. Is that correct, Brian? Okay. So I'll look for Mr. Early or Mr. Morgan or Mr. Pierce to make a motion on these.
On the proposed street side setback, I make a motion, we approve the variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not essentially alter the character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazardous or nuisance to the property.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. I want to be also just interject on that motion. That is for the side yard. Did you say side yard or rear yard?
The street side yard.
Street side yard. That variance, requested variance is 15.18 feet.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Just include that condition of approval there, that it shall only apply.
Yes,
Plans
only
considered.
applied to the information that's being reviewed this date of August the 19th, 2024. So we have a motion and a second then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, the motion passes for the street side setback. Next motion, please.
I move the front yard setback, requested variance of 1.18 feet, because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, It will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of zoning regulations.
Second.
So we have a motion, a second. I do want to contain in there that the conditions of approval are for only this plan that's being reviewed today of August the 19th, 2024. Motion and a second are present. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? There being none, motion passes. I need one more motion that would be for the rear yard setback now.
I make a motion that we approve the setback variance of 8.29 feet on the rear yard because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations, and this applies only to this case.
We have a motion. I now need a second. We have a second. All in favor? Oh, let me interject also for the potential conditions of approval that this is only information contained in this meeting of August the 19th, 2024 be considered. So motion and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? There being none, third motion passes, and all variances are approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Next thing on our agenda today will be approval of meetings from June the 17th of 2024. You've had time to review those. Any corrections to that? If not, then I'll accept a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the previous minutes.
Whoops, my bad.
Hi, Anna Barge, Senior Planner. I do have a correction under the 305 Maple Court. Under the vote section, it says the motion was passed on a vote of 3-1, but it looks like no one voted no or abstained, so I think we need a correction there.
It was 3-0. I noticed that, but I wasn't going to bring it up.
Okay.
It did pass 3-0, not
Okay.
3-1.
Okay. That was just the only thing I saw.
Okay.
Motion to approve as amended.
All right, we had one small amendment on the 305 Maple Court that's noted, and a motion to approve the minutes of June the 17th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion passes. I will now accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Wait a minute.
No, I withdraw my motion.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to take the opportunity, she just came up and spoke, but Anna Barge is our new senior planner. So I asked her if she wanted to go up and tell them about the things she found, and she was like, yes, so that's good. She got right up here and spoke. So she comes to us all the way from Georgia, so I think spent her weekend unpacking boxes, but is happy to be here and just wanted to make sure you all saw her, and you'll start to see some emails from her hopefully in the coming meetings, so.
How rude of me. I introduced myself earlier and spoke with her. I'm sorry. Yes. Welcome, Anna. And Ryan, congratulations on your new appointment.
Thank you.
It's going to be different without Mr. Urban, but, we're moving forward, and I know that you're going to be more than capable of handling everything, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else, comments? All right, now we'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Second, approved, aye. All right. There you go. Adjourn.